Hey, this is Sri Vishwanath here, and welcome to episode number 13 of the Ask Sri Vishwanath Vedanta Show. And today's video, we'll speak about the dangers of pranayama and a simple solution to fix it. So, today's question comes from Steve from California. He says, and I've just shortened it, is pranayama a good spiritual practice to attain self-realization? So the simple answer is no. Ramakrishna, Sharda Devi, so many of the best have prohibited people to practice pranayama. Today, all these teachers are taking people for a ride. So I want to educate you on what is pranayama, what is prana. So prana, as first manifestation, is force. So anything that moves, my hand moves, everything that moves is because of prana. So prana's first manifestation is force. It causes the motion of the lungs, because of which breathing happens. So in the pranayama, one regulates the breath. And so through the breath, one goes to the prana, and that's how it. So here's the thing what Ramakrishna says. You do whatever you want. Most of the people who practice breathing, they practice 1 hour, 2 hours. First is you have to realize breathing is very sophisticated. It's God-given power. If you try to manipulate it, that's the first mistake. That's the first direct mistake. You can't play with such a sophisticated thing as breathing. And then Ramakrishna says, even if you do that, the breathing, and try to control prana, who will control the mind? So you have to do two things. First, control the breath, then reach to prana. Most will, by controlling the breath, they get, totally lost in the breath. And then after you control prana, who will control mind? Because most of the people do not understand. There are 5 sheets. First is the body sheet. Second is the prana sheet. Behind that is the mind sheet. See, mind is vast. Mind is beyond prana. It's called Mahat, universal mind. And then after that is the whole causal body, the avidya. So who is going to control the mind? People have no idea what is mind. They think mind is some small thing where you have thoughts and all. It's a universal mind. It's a whole study of Sankhya philosophy from which yoga has come. So Ramakrishna says, why waste your time trying to control your breath, then reach to prana, which very few do. And even after you reach prana, you have to then control the mind. So he says, directly, why don't you skip the prana and go to the mind, which is what all the great ones do. See, you have to realize here, earlier pranayama was was a way for very few people, like people who lived in the Himalayas. There was a strict diet followed. They had to follow all discipline, high purity, for very certain small section of the people. Not for everyone. Today, everyone is doing that. They don't have the lifestyle. They don't have the food habits. They don't have the lifestyle habits. They don't have the purity. It's not going to work. And even if it works, I told you, who will control the breath? Who will control the mind? It's very dangerous because you're dealing with. Now, take a look at today's what's happening in the world. Many people think that if you practice pranayama, you're going to get better in dealing with these viruses, which is happening. That's all bullshit. Ask someone who is really getting breathing problem whether it's pranayama is helping. Screw it. It's not going to help. He or she is going to die. What is going to help? Who controls prana? Ishvara. That is why Ramakrishna says, directly control the mind by placing your mind in Ishvara. What foolishness. Shankaracharya says, today the problem has come into this world because people are, most of the people are practicing pranayama day and night, doing all the mantras which they should not do, practicing all this kundalini rising. Because of this, all these viruses come. No one gets the real heart. So the viruses come because of the tamas. In a country like India, how can it come? Because people are not listening to the real spiritual teacher like Shankaracharya. They're listening to all others who are practice pranayama. If you ask someone who has got genuine breathing problem, who feels he or she is going to die, has the pranayama helped them? How can it help? Because where is the force of this breathing coming from? The prana comes. Prana is, it's called jada, insentient. It comes from Ishvara. That's why, because hey Bhagavan Uvacha, Ramakrishna has always put your mind on God. It is the direct and the easiest way. And if you still like to practice Om, breathing or whatever, when you breathe, do the breathing with the name of Ishvara. And if you're practicing pranayama, then don't leave it immediately because it will have some implication. But practice the name of God. Today, the name of God is not told at all. I mean, prana is insentient. It's called jada, J-A-D-A. And all these teachers are telling, practice pranayama, practice pranayama, practice. You have to practice putting your mind at the feet of God. The whole study of Vedanta is this. What is doubt? Doubt is the inability to place your mind exclusively on God. It's not doubting yourself or a person or something. Inability of the person. How many people can place their mind on God when they want? Very, very few people can do that. Because it's the highest skill on planet Earth. Love for God. When you have that, He is the witness. He will help you. He's the one who regulates our breath. Is prana regulating our breath? Damn it. I mean, why are people so foolish? Who is regulating our breath? Prana is only an instrument. Who is giving the strength to prana? It's Ishvara. And whole half of the country, people have forgotten that. Because of all these spiritual teachers. That should not happen. So behind prana is the mind sheet, behind mind is the intellect, behind intellect is the bliss sheet. So you have to place your mind on Ishvara. That is the fastest and easiest way. Even if you like breathing, do breathing, but do each breathing with visualizing God. Include God. Don't feel breathing is because of prana. Oh, I'm getting good in prana. If you get breathing problem, is your pranayama going to help you? We have to have some brains now. Even after having so much issues, people are not having brains as to what makes this whole system work. So it's very, very important that you train yourself to place your mind at the feet of God. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. It is the greatest skill. That's why Ramakrishna said, why should you do all this practice, all this pranayama? So, Steve, this is the answer. Place your mind at the feet of God. Realize that pranayama and all is not needed at all. It was needed for a certain section. You don't fall into that section. Most 99% don't fall. Don't fall for all the spiritual trap of all these teachers who kept on saying, oh, breathe for 3 hours and your physical body is going to... Breathing is already happening naturally. Did you get that? All right, more of it next time. Thank you and God bless.